Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Yakima SightLine FX roof rack and see how it fits with and how to install it on our 2024 Mazda CX-50. Now, if after watching this video you decide this is the roof rack for you, you get it and you use it a few times, go ahead and share what you think about it in the comments below. We would love to use your experience to help our other neighbors make the best decision for themselves. Now, carrying extra cargo in your vehicle or in your CX-50 on an adventure, you maybe have a lot of passengers, or you might have some cargo with you that you either can't fit or just don't want inside the vehicle traveling with you. A roof rack can be an excellent option to be able to carry that extra cargo, whether it's going to be a cargo basket or box, water sport carrier like for water skis or a kayak, or ski and snowboard. All sorts of things can be put on a roof rack in order to help you enjoy your next adventure to the fullest. Now, the Yakima SightLine FX is a flush roof rack, and what that means is that the crossbars don't extend and hang out past the towers. They're going to pretty much dead end there. Now, while you do lose crossbar space when you have a system like that, really the flush rails like you're looking at right now, or the flush crossbars, actually have a little bit of a cleaner look to most people's eye, and they look a little bit more factory in that sense as well. You're still going to have plenty of room to put things up here. You can use clamp mounted or T-track mounted accessories on this roof rack. It is an arrow style bar, so as opposed to a round or a square bar, this is going to be a little bit more streamlined. It is really going to help you out with a lot of that extra road noise that you might experience with those other bar styles. But with all that being said, let's get up on our roof and take a few measurements and see how it fits. The Yakima bars do have to go in a specific placement, so there's not really a whole lot you could do to really adjust your crossbar spread or anything like that with this set. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take a measurement right now of our crossbar spread, and that's coming out to just a hair over 32 inches, and that's actually perfect. Most crossbar accessories end up being between like the 28 and 36 inch mark. So a 32 inch set of bars should be able to accommodate just about anything you want to put up here. However, it's always a good idea to double check. The other things we're going to be taking a look at is just how much bar space do you have to work with. Now, because of the taper of these factory rails, the front bar is going to have more space than our back bar. So we're going to take a measurement of the back bar, and that'll be giving us a better idea of what we have to work with up here, and which is going to be about 33.5 inches. So whatever you're putting up here, it doesn't really give you much opportunity to put things side by side like an overhanging bar would, but you've got a lot of room to work with up here for any type of rooftop box or anything like that. The other thing we want to take a look at is how much height does this actually add to the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and take a measurement from the middle here, and I'm just going to measure slightly above to account for these towers. But we're looking at this adding just under 5 inches of height to your vehicle, so be mindful of that, especially if you have accessories up here. If you're going into a parking garage or anything like that, you want to know what your overhead clearance is. And we're also going to take a measurement of how much space we have between the bottom of the bar and the rooftop as well. This will help you make sure that any kind of those clamp style accessories are going to be able to fit around it with clearance. So we're right at 3¼ inches from the roof to the bottom of the bar. Again, I think that's plenty of room to be able to get just about anything you need to up here. So I mentioned that these are flush crossbars. There is no overhang. So as you can see here from the door threshold, unlike some of the overhanging bars on a vehicle this height, this is not going to be something that you have to worry about head clearance getting in and out of the car. In fact, even anything that you mount up here won't really end up being too much outside of these towers. So that's not something that would concern me too much with this set of crossbars. Now, with all that being said, this is actually a decent set to be able to go ahead and install by yourself. It's fairly simple, so follow along and I'll show you exactly how we got these on our roof. As we begin our installation, just a few things we want to have handy is a tape measure, a flathead screwdriver, and that provided Yakima tool that came with the kit. Now, in your kit, you're also going to find a piece of paper. It's going to have some different measurements on a table. They'll be listed M1, M2, M3, M4, and so forth. What those measurements are referring to is basically where the placement and the width of our crossbars need to be. Your M1 and M3 measurements are going to be taken from this hash here to this hash here. They're both located right at the bolt that the Yakima tool uses to tighten down our bar length. Now, our M1 measurement refers to our front bar, which we already have installed. This is our back bar, and the measurement for this is 36 7/8. So if we measure that point to point there at 36 7/8, once we get that length down, we can take that provided Yakima tool, and this is a torquing tool, so you're just going to tighten your bar down until you hear a nice loud audible pop, just like that. Remove our cover, which we're just going to squeeze in the sides and pull right off. The next thing we're going to do is get our flathead. This is where our locking core would go. We're going to open that up, and we're also going to remove this piece as well. And what that is going to expose is this whole kind of cinching mechanism here that we're going to install our clips. But the first thing we'll do is put our foot pad on. This is really simple. You want to make sure that this cavity is facing to the outside, and we're just going to snap this down into place, just like that. The next thing we're going to want to do is put on our outer clip. And the first thing we need to do for that is to pinch and release this tension clip. We're going to take our R4 clip, we're going to slip it in there, get past this bolt. And once it's in there just like that, we're going to go ahead and replace that retention clip, make sure it gets seated back into its holes. And then we're really going to do the same thing on this side. Got a retention clip there. And then we're going to take our R15 clip, and we're going to put this in really kind of the same way. We don't really have a bolt to go around back here. It's a little easier. And then we're going to go ahead and pop that retention clip right back into place. Now we have this kind of grabbing mechanism for our flush rails up there. But once we have all of that in place, we're not going to set these back in yet because there is a bolt on the side here that we're going to use to tighten the clamps down onto our rails. So follow along, we're going to go ahead and get this up on our roof. We do have our front bar installed already, and the reason we did that is because the placement of our second bar is related to our first bar. Now, you're going to look on your chart that you got in your instruction where you found all those measurements like the M1, M2, M3. If you look at your M2 measurement, what that's going to refer to is the top of your windshield glass to the front of that first tower. And in the case of our instructions, for this vehicle, it's telling us 15 inches. So if we go to 15 inches here, we've got a really good bar placement already set. Now, the next measurement that we need to take, as far as placement of our second bar, is going to be from the middle of one bar to the middle of the next. Now, you can get up on top of the vehicle and kind of measure from the bar, but if you wanted to kind of stay on the side and do it, I usually like to take the measurement from right in the middle of that clip stamp right there where it says R4. That's pretty much the center of your tower right there. So I'm going to go ahead and use that to measure out where I'm going to put my second bar. If I'm looking at our M4 measurement on our chart, that's calling for 32 inches. So center to center, and I'm going to measure from that stamp on the clip there, getting us right at 32 inches. While I'm good over here on the passenger side, I want to take that same measurement over on the driver's side because I need to ensure that these bars are going to be exactly parallel to each other and perpendicular to our rails. Once I have that measurement set, we'll come around and we'll get our clamps tightened down. So now that we've got equal measurements on each of our rails, I'm going to go ahead and take our provided Yakima tool, and I'm going to start tightening down this bolt right here. And what this is going to end up doing for us is getting this clamp down around this lip. So it may be a good thing to kind of, press down on it a little bit just to make sure it's going to get around there. And as I'm tightening this down, I'm really just tightening it down to the point where it's snug. I really don't want to tighten it all the way down and risk popping loose the other side. So once I get it snug, I'm going to go over to the driver's side and do the same thing, and I'm going to incrementally tighten these down until they're both set. So once we got it snug on both sides, we're going to go ahead and use our Yakima tool until it pops. That way we know we've got it torqued to spec and tight up here. All right. Now I'll go over to the other side, and once I get that same pop out of this on the other side, it'll be time to replace our tower covers. Now the first piece you need to replace is this piece here that has our plastic lock core. We're going to go ahead and slip it around this tab over on the side, put it right back into its place, and then we're going to use our flathead here to go ahead and get that locked on. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and grab our tower cover. We're going to slip that right into place, just like so. And that's really it for the installation, so not too difficult. The main thing to pay attention to is understanding what those M measurements stand for and how to determine how wide and how far apart your crossbars need to be. So that was a look at the fit and installation of the Yakima SightLine FX crossbars on our 2024 Mazda CX-50. I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.